This one here is still really good for me because before a show, when I, maybe 30 minutes before going on, when I take the guitar out of the case after, not sleeping and taking too many planes or whatever, I screw it up. So that tells me I need to, sort of center myself, slow down, and get my coordination back together again. And then I'll do it on the other strings. And it seems to be the same. It's a humbling exercise. Yeah. You never get better at it, and even if you did it perfect, it's still no good. It's not music. So it's just between you and the guitar, And I've done some others where they're just like tongue twisters, for your fingers. And so I've used, 6 chords, 9th chords, diminished chords. You can use any chord you want. The symmetrical scale, of course, is 8 notes long, and it's got notes that are in as well as notes that are out. So if you're playing, so there was a little blues and then a little symmetrical scale, but then I ended with a kind of a blues phrasing. So that's kind of out. You'd only really be able to do that if you were so comfortable with the scale that you could play it in a blues phrase. When you learn these scales, you're doing it this way, kind of thing, and it doesn't really sound like anything. And I think maybe the challenge might be is to take something, let's say if I was doing a lesson and a student could play, then I'd say, well, let's just take that same riff, right? And instead maybe do that, and that suddenly changes it. That's a simple, and then maybe, so we go, let's say, and suddenly it's kind of a weird blues lick, you know what I mean? It's so subtle, and it stays within that 11-note thing. So it's not like if you're playing over this and you're just going, so then it's just totally out. So, but this, it still sounds like you're kind of doing a blues thing and just taking some liberties with some extra notes. And so, first one is just a thing I do a lot. So I'm just playing the symmetrical scale down, and I'm sort of alternating with the open string. Obviously, with certain scales, and I like to, coming from playing with a trio quite often, I like the idea of using open strings as much as possible. And so riffs like that, if you can use more, let's say if you're in E minor, and there are things that are just fun to look at and think about and play. Any scale that you know of that has got common tones that are reflected in the open strings, you can work into something like that. Now, to me, that's really spooky because it breaks down all convention of what key am I in.
Yeah. Totally.
Wow, major 7, flat 5, major 7, and flat 7, and then major, sus 4. It's just like he's using everything, but yet it's still just sitting there, and he's talking about a missing cow. Without this guy. Without Albert King, I don't know what we'd be playing. I really don't, because everybody took everything that he did,
Can you give us some typical Albert King licks?
Yeah. All of this, that's all of his, and then you put a little, there's a little Buddy Guy in there, and you got yourself a blues style, and a little Hendrix and B.B. King.